Peter, how do you want to do this? Do you want to be the host or should I be the host of this one?
Welcome to the Just Baseball Show. It is Friday, March 21st, and I am here to give you the perfect list, the top 100 baseball players for the year 2025. Jack McMullen, Aram Layton, they're going to try and come after me. They're going to do their best to rip the list to shreds, and we are here for more of a debate style, right? Because with the top 100 prospects, more of a subjective list. This is more objective. And the reason I say that is because I'm right. You know what I'm saying? So it's on them to come in and rip the list apart. You can see them both smiling on YouTube. And if you are watching on YouTube, make sure to hit the like button and comment after you're probably done listening to this. What are your problems with the list? Actually, don't comment that. You won't have any problems with the list because it's perfect. And it is all brought to you by BetMGM, the sportsbook born in Vegas. Remember, folks, use promo code JUSTBASEBALL to get that first bet offer up to $1,500 if you are a new customer. Some people deployed it already on the Tokyo series. Some people use it on MLB futures, but opening day is just a week away. So if you're new to BetMGM, use code JUSTBASEBALL to get that first bet offer. If your first wager loses, you'll get it all back in bonus bets up to $1,500. But remember, gambling problem, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. Must be 21 years or older. Terms and conditions apply. What else do you guys want to talk about?
I've got something off the top. I do want to get my nice thing out of the way first. This is the best list that you've put together over like the 3 or 4 years that you've been doing that. So that's it for me being nice, and then I'm going to be mean for the next hour and 10 minutes.
I'm good with that because then I could continue to refer back to when you did say that. But I'm also a little bit confused because does that mean you think the rest of my lists have been dog shit and that this
Yes.
is okay?
Yeah.
Yes.
Or
Yeah.
that all of the lists have been perfect and this is even more perfect, which I agree with you on.
The first one.
The first one. Yeah, this was the first time where I was like, I actually need to like dig in a little bit harder and try to pick this apart. Last time it was like it was just right there. I was like, oh no, hate that, hate that, hate that. This wasn't bad. Also, I don't want it to go unnoticed. Peter didn't even answer your question as to whether you want him to or he wanted to host it or not. He just started hosting.
But what I appreciate is that I got my answer like right away. I didn't
love
need to
that,
ask
honestly.
again.
That was great. All right, what do you got, Jack?
Goes to show how ready I am. Ready
Oh,
for war.
Yeah.
I know Aram has a quick thing off the top, but can I tell you like what I did this morning?
Yeah.
I was on my way from Jupiter to Miami. I scheduled like we have an off day, so I just scheduled a whole bunch of like furniture delivery, like IKEA came, Macy's came, but I was stuck in Miami traffic. Thanks for the warning, Arm. I'm serious, like that it does suck. I was not expecting that. But I listened to an 18-minute rant. My guys at Funhouse tweeted this out. Mad Dog
Oh,
went on an 18-minute rant about the Mets not giving his son's radio show a player or team representative to talk to when they were in Port St. Lucie at spring training. Colin Russo, Mad Dog's son, is a host at ESPN West Palm. I've heard he does a great job. But they did like a little pop-up show in Port St. Lucie, and Mad Dog like laid all this out for 18 minutes. He said Colin like texted a Mets PR guy and asked if anyone could come by the show from 4 to 7. He texted that morning and he said, sorry, everybody's schedule is booked at that point. And that just set Mad Dog off. And
Day
so
of.
many people caught strays. Like Mad Dog threw the hardest sucker punches. Like, you mean to tell me Paul Blackburn doesn't have 5 minutes today? You mean to tell me AJ Minter, Jose Budo? I'm picking the most random people. It was gold. It was radio gold, and I loved it. I listened to all 18 minutes.
Only 18 minutes? I could have listened to that for an hour. I mean, this guy could just go off. Mad Dog Chris Russo. I mean, he's a legend, but sometimes, and by sometimes I mean most of the time these days, he is just completely off his rocker. And I also like that he started naming random players like
Yes.
AJ Minter and Jose Budo. AJ Minter's been one of the best relievers in baseball for a while now, and Jose Budo was incredibly important as more of a swing man, but also was a high leverage arm too. So Chris Russo is supposed to be a New York sports guy, and the most random guys he could think of are pretty good players on the Mets.
It also could have been Alex Ramirez. It's not caliber of player to be available. Like that's not what determines whether you're available day of in a 3-hour window. Like that's tough. If we tried to do that, if that's how we scheduled player interviews, we'd never get one.
Yeah.
It's already hard enough to like corral the windows and times a lot of times because these guys are so busy. But I wanted to also, I almost went on a rant of my own, honestly, just seeing some of the reactions to Coby Mayo's comments when he got sent to option to AAA, which we kind of expected. And I know that Coby was probably braced for that, given just you look at the roster situation in Baltimore, and you're going to understand that he could be the odd man out. But this was the quote that that was kind of circulating, and that got some fans like upset, and people just kind of that don't really understand the context or really just want to tee off on somebody for no reason. One of the worst people on X actually specifically had a problem with it. The guy that used to charge people for podcast appearances.
Oh yeah, our guy.
Yeah, well, he fights battles for somebody else. This was the quote. It's definitely difficult, or it definitely is difficult. It obviously sucks because you feel like you've proven everything you've needed to. Sometimes it doesn't feel like it's quite enough. Obviously, you go back there, and if you have success, it's, oh, he's supposed to have success because he's already proven it. And if he doesn't have success, it's, oh, obviously he's fallen off. It's kind of a lose-lose going back to Norfolk. That is just an honest response because that is the position of a player that has dominated in AAA. And I wanted to clarify too. I know it was disappointing last year when he came up for 41 at-bats and really struggled at the major league level. But it's important not to conflate that with a bad year. He was phenomenal in AAA. 25 home runs in 93 games. He was even better than he was the year before in AAA. So now you have parts of 2 seasons here of success as a 22-year-old and 21-year-old in AAA. And he has to go back there. I didn't take it as, why are they sending me here? I didn't take it as being critical of the Orioles. It was more just being fair and honest about the situation. Me going back to Norfolk puts me in a spot where it feels like I can't really win.
Yeah.
I know that people are going to say he needs to work on the defense, and I get that, and that would help him, but he could be a much better defender, and it still wouldn't really pencil him in anywhere right now. And also, the most important thing, he didn't just tweet this. He was asked a question, and he answered it honestly, and I still think professionally. Just gave you an honest answer. And I think it's okay to normalize that, but people get also upset, like, oh, well, why do these players give such generic, boring stock answers? Because when they're honest, this is what happens. He didn't even do anything wrong or say anything bad. So it's not like he isn't going to go there and try. He's going to, but he gave an honest perspective, and I think the reaction was completely unfair.
I totally agree with you. And I was just going to further your point that, everyone's always asking these athletes and, general managers, front office people, everybody who works in the sport to give honest answers. And they almost never do, because when they do, you see the reaction. Why would they? Think about, put yourself in Coby Mayo's shoes. Are you ever going to answer the media honestly again? You're just going to give the same generic answer every single time now because you finally were honest, and look what social media, the uproar gave you. It's not fair. It's just genuinely
I'm
not
thrilled
fair.
to go back to Norfolk, where I've been one of the best hitters as one of the younger players at that level the last 2 years. No, of course he's not. And any other human being would not be thrilled about it either. Maybe he could have minced his words a little bit more, but that to me is not professionalism. That's just kind of playing the game. And he's a competitor, and he knows that he can succeed at the big league level if he gets the runway, and he hasn't had the runway yet. And I don't blame him for being bothered and just, again, not being thrilled about going back to AAA. Who would be?
I think the reason we loved our conversation with Coby Mayo, and I know both your conversations with Coby Mayo, Aram, is because you didn't get the coach speak BS from Coby Mayo on the call up. This guy actually answered questions that were asked to him, and this is just another example of a guy being genuine in an interview setting, and he's also spitting facts. There's no BS here whatsoever. I'm really fired up about Norfolk's promotional schedule. I can't wait for that specialty SpongeBob jersey at the end of April. What are you supposed to say?
It's a good jersey, though.
No, I mean, that was El Paso, but I rest my case. Coby Mayo has played 151 games in AAA. 151, okay? You want to call that a full year? 151? Let's do that. Coby Mayo in AAA is hitting 279 with a 919 OPS, 38 doubles, 34 homers, 122 driven in.
What has he got to prove?
That's an MVP candidate in
Yeah.
AAA. There's nothing left for him to prove, and he's right. It can only go downhill. It is totally a lose-lose situation. And I love some of the players coming to back him up a little bit. Like I saw Connor Norby tweet
Yeah.
out a good long thing, which was great, and a couple other guys like they've been in it, and Norby knows it. Like Norby was blocked for 2 years. Kyle Stowers was blocked for 2 years in that organization. Joey Ortiz was blocked for like 3 years in that organization. Like this is what happens when you have a bunch of guys that are really good and you only have 26 roster spots. And man, like I hope for Mayo's sake he gets extended run somewhere because he deserves it, and he does not deserve to enter this lose-lose situation again.
Last thing I'll say is people are talking about like, oh, well, the spring training numbers, he should have played better or whatever. I mean, it's such a small sample. And by the way, in the
Like
last
6
8 games,
it's like 6 or 8 games.
like the last 8 games, he has 7 knocks, 3 doubles, and he's been playing much better, but then got optioned right after that. So it's just not enough time to be able to really get going or do anything. And that, even if he tore it up, I don't think it would have changed anything. So I just wanted to talk about that because I think it's very easy to get on a guy for that because you're not the one that has to go back to minor league camp for the rest of spring training and go to Norfolk for your 3rd year now, where again you've been one of the best hitters in minor league baseball.
While we're on the theme of rants, a lot of people on social media have been complaining that Major League Baseball should not be opening their season in Japan. They've been complaining about the time, and I understand, right? You're a Chicago Cubs fan. You got to get up at 5 in the morning to watch your team on opening day. If you're a Dodger fan, you got to get up at 3 in the morning to watch your team on opening day. But I just made a TikTok about this, about why Commissioner Rob Manfred does not care. And the reason is a fifth of the Japanese population, according to Sports Business Journal, watched this game. That's 25 million people. To put that in perspective, that is 4 times the number of Canadians who watched the Four Nations hockey game between the United States and Canada, and more total viewers in Japan than everyone in North America who watched that game. 9 million more than the Game 7 of the Stanley Cup last year. 9 million more. Almost double the amount of the most watched finals game in the NBA since 2019. 25 million people. This is a worldwide event. And just another reminder, it's not like you didn't already know this, but this was a regular season game. And for anyone who says that baseball isn't thriving, the numbers disagree with you.
It's always thriving in Japan.
Always.
The challenge is always in the U.S. and those are the.
Well, did you know that Major League Baseball as a league made more money last year than the NBA and the NHL, just trailing the NFL?
I believe it. You also have to factor in like total gate. Like you have 162 available dates for each team as opposed to 81. Yada yada yada. But like 42% of households in Japan watched an 8 a.m. Wednesday game in the WBC final. Like this is just that's what happens over there. Like Otani drives eyes in Japan. He is apparently on every single commercial, on every single billboard, everywhere you look, it's Otani over there. So those numbers, while they are insane to comprehend as an American sports fan and an American television viewer, he's God. Like he's the closest thing that there is to a God on earth right now.
It's like Lionel Messi getting dropped in MLS.
Messi. Like this is Messi, but I mean, also the MLS nobody's gonna watch because it's the MLS. You know what I mean? It's like Messi going to play in Argentina again. Like that is what this is.
Baseball is also just like football there. So like, and if you think about the amount of people that watch like the Super Bowl in the U.S., it's like more than 40% of the population. But it makes it just so clear to me that I need to go out there and watch some baseball in Japan. It's a bucket list item for me.
Yep.
Just keep thinking of like the Dodgers too. I mean, they're going to start the season in Japan every single season until Shohei Ohtani retires. I mean, why wouldn't they?
Good.
Yeah, you got Roki, you got Yamamoto as well. And it was great seeing the Cubs with Shota Imanaga. I think it's just going to be the Dodgers taking on whoever team signs more Japanese players.
Don't forget Seiya Suzuki. And my favorite wrinkle from this was the PCA chants at the Tokyo Dome.
Yeah.
Like they love Pete Crow Armstrong.
That's so funny.
All right, I think we're ready for the top 100.
Let's do it.
Okay. Here's where I want to start. Where are Josh Naylor and Isaac Paredes?
So both of them did not make the list, but let's go over 190 real quick. You guys want to go by sections, feel where you have the most problems, or it's just kind of a free form asking about it? Because again, you can follow the list on justbaseball.com while you're listening, but I'm sure listeners of the show would still like the names to be listed out.
Yeah, we can do 190. Give those 10 names real quick, and I've got some names that you left off.
So at number 100, I have Cal Quantrill. We'll explain why. At number 99, I have Walker Buehler. Again, we will explain why. But the list, again, really starts at 98 with Zach Neto at 98, Luis Robert at 97, Tommy Edman at 96, Ezekiel Tovar at 95, Devin Williams at 94, Mason Wynn at 93, Max Muncy at 92, and James Wood at 91, and then Gino Suarez at 90.
Okay. Like explain why Quantrill and Buehler, although I feel like everybody listening to this understands why Quantrill and Buehler.
So if you know about Cal Quantrill. He's been my guy. He will always be my guy, and he will always be number 100 on this list. Unless, he wins the Cy Young and then he just continues to fly up the list, which is entirely possible.
And the other one came on the podcast once a week for a year. Can we move on?
But I will also say that, think about if you're the Marlins real fast. Think about it. You put all of your eggs. You signed one free agent this offseason, Cal Quantrill. Imagine being a major league team. You put all of your eggs in one basket for one guy. It's a top 100 player. Of course he is.
Yeah. Valid.
Yeah. With Walker Buehler, I know he's coming off an injury, and based on the statistics, like he wouldn't match up for this top 100 list. But I was outside of the bias that we clearly have with Buehler being a routine guest on this show. I genuinely think that he could be a top 100 player this year. He has been carving through spring training, and even before we got him on this podcast, in 2021, he was among the 5 best pitchers in the entire world. And I know it's going to be a little bit different because it's still not the 98, 99 mile an hour fastball that Buehler used to throw. But we saw how good he was in the playoffs. And then so far in spring training, so post-injury, he's looked damn good to me. And he's not that far removed from being a top 5 pitcher in the world. So yeah, there is a little bit of bias in here. But at the same time, I legitimately think he is going to be a monster this year for the Red Sox.
I agree. I mean, I do think he's going to finish the year as a top 100 player. Obviously, bias as well, but I can absolutely see it. And it's been cool to see him in spring training in this like reinvented version, as we've talked about. But I want to start right at 97. Can you get Luis Robert the hell off this list?
Mm-hmm. I know. You guys don't like Luis Robert, and I do. There's just an element of
what if.
I mean, a few years ago, he only played 68 games, but the dude hit 340 with a 945 OPS. Then in 2024, it was terrible, but the entire White Sox team was terrible. It's got to suck. We've talked about this. Going to work every day, knowing that you're going to lose, no motivation at all. But again,
as opposed to what this year will be?
This year, the White Sox are going to win 60 games. This year, the White Sox are going to win 60 games.
He's going to be invigorated every day.
He's going to be invigorated. All I'm saying is, in terms of straight up talent, like top end talent, I think Luis Robert is a top 50 player in this game.
Sure.
I think he could be an elite defender, an elite power bat while also stealing 30 bases. Will it happen? I don't know, but we've seen it in a full season before. And if he doesn't do it, he'll never be on this list again. But I'm still holding out hope in case it happens because there is so much talent there still. Go ahead, Jack.
Yeah. Do you believe in the bat?
Yes.
Because if you believe in the bat, I'm curious to see what happened to Bo Bichette. I couldn't find Bichette on this list.
Bichette did not make this list. He's got to bounce back. That's true. But Luis Robert just has more top-end talent. Like Bo Bichette was one of the players on my Just Missed. Austin Wells was a player on my Just Missed. He was. Austin Wells.
I've got a whole bunch of Just Missed for you that I would take over.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Did Ian Happ and Profar die?
Profar is coming off his best season to date, and I agree with Aram. I think that maybe he doesn't replicate it fully, but I think he'll get close. I really do think that when Atlanta signed him to a 3 or 42 million, I think they bought into it, and I think I am too. But again, it's just one season, and it's been largely a career of disappointment. Who was the other player you named?
Ian Happ.
Ian Happ, like I recognize that Ian Happ is a good player. He's good at everything, but like I've never turned on the TV because Ian Happ is up to the bat.
Okay.
But I will recognize Ian Happ is a good player.
Okay, a couple other guys. O'Neal Cruz is not on this list.
Yeah.
Sesame Abrams is not on this list.
Yes.
Big
O'Neal
one,
Cruz.
Mark Vientos is not on this list.
Mark Vientos, I just have to see it again. I mean, there's too much swing and miss. There was inconsistencies there. He was great last year from the power department, but I think, again, I'm just going to point back to the inconsistencies, and the fact is that I need to see it again before I fully believe it. Like, there's some guys who've only done it once, and in my opinion, I believe in them more. Mark Vientos, I'm still unsure. Wouldn't be shocked if he's another 35 home run guy, but I also wouldn't be shocked if, he's hitting 220, 240. He's striking out 30% of the time, and the power comes in bunches, but it's not as consistent. But I could look back and be like, damn it, why didn't I put Mark Vientos on the list?
I want to circle back to the Bichette thing, though, because he was 26 last year.
Yes.
I understand it was a horrible year, but your perspective changed that much?
Yeah, because here's why my perspective changed. Because I was so high on Bichette because of the bat.
And you believed in the bat. I remember.
I believed
it
so
burned into
fully
my
in the bat.
brain. You said it 20 times on this episode last
And
week.
it was so bad, guys. I mean, and he can't fall back on anything defensively at shortstop. So I'm like, oh God, if he's not hitting, he's terrible. So it's like,
That's fair.
I'm not going to say I got that one wrong. I'm just going to say I didn't get it right.
You didn't get it right yet.
Like that spins
Got
up. Yeah, there we go.
Okay, I like that spin zone.
Who else? I got some more missing, Jack,
Go ahead.
unless you have more.
Yeah,
Do you guys want to hear the players that I just missed on my list?
No, not really.
No? Okay, go ahead.
You were just raving about Christopher Sanchez. I thought Sanchez could have had a case.
Yeah.
Kind of back-to-back years. Seth Lugo was another interesting one. Tanner Bybee.
Yeah. Damn it.
Tanner Bybee I had circled.
It was tough because it's like my last pitcher on this list outside of
Cal
Bueller and
Quantrill.
outside of Quantrill was Zach Gallen. So it's like there's 25 pitchers on this list. Not as many as maybe last year where more of those pitchers would have squeaked on. It's just I keep going back to the fact that like the pitching position in general, these guys just get injured. It's hard for me to really rely on them. So when I'm ranking guys, I think to myself at like, let's say 32, for example, would I rather have the batter? Would I rather have the pitcher? So the pitchers just kept moving down my list, in my opinion. So, like, do you think any of those pitchers you named are better than Zach Gallen?
I don't know. Like, that's fair.
So that's why they just ended up not making my
That's fair.
list. But Christopher Sanchez might fuck around and win the Cy Young. I'll be pissed
Yeah,
if
that's
he
what you
does.
said.
'Cause,
That's what you said
I agree.
yesterday.
He's awesome. He's awesome, and that would be a just miss candidate for sure.
A little bit of apples to oranges here, and I definitely prefer players who can play a good premium position defensively, but Seiya Suzuki kind of rakes. And I know you like Seiya Suzuki. He doesn't crack it, but Luis Robert does.
He just missed it because, again, to your point about the fact that Luis Robert can play a really good defensive center field and Seiya Suzuki is struggling out there in a corner and probably is a DH for the rest of his career. And I only have about 5 or 6 DHs on this list, but Seiya was my 7th and again just missed. Another pitcher that I really wanted to get on here, but again, I only have a few relievers. Ryan Helsley just missed, one of the best closers in baseball. But my last ranked closer is Devin Williams, and I have him as my 5th best closer. I have Ryan Helsley at 6, so he just missed. Again, Austin Wells. There's not a ton of catchers on this list. That's a guy who just missed for me. But I agree with you. When I posted that on Twitter, Aram, Seiya Suzuki was the biggest one where people are like, what do you mean he's not on the list? Like, ever since he's come over, he's been 20% better than league average, like every single year. Hits home runs, hits doubles. He's a great hitter. But just doesn't quite have the allure of the other DHs, and the fact that he doesn't play a position. He's like 105.
That's fair. I honestly like. I'm gonna probably that'll be another area where I pick apart like some of the DHs. I'm with you. I don't value that nearly as much as the guys that are playing a premium position. I don't really have any major issues, I don't think, with this range other than Luis Robert. I think a healthy season of Tommy Edmonds going to be great.
Yeah.
Mason Wynn's is proven himself, I think, is a guy that's only going to get better and top 100 player. And Muncy is, if I'm trying to campaign for, say, a Suzuki, I mean, Muncy's doing it, and at least he can fake it at a couple spots.
The only other question I have in the 190 range is Gino Suarez over James Wood? Question mark. Like for 2025, I'm just thinking Wood over Gino.
So even though Aram, and again, this list is not just for 2025. Like I didn't just put out a list projecting my top 5 or my top 100 players that are going to finish in F War again in 2025. My list is a combination of what have you done and what do I think you can do. So again, some guys on the list are a little bit higher than you might think based on what you think they will do next year, but their body of work is just so incredible. And that is a perfect example of the difference between Gino Suarez and James Wood. James Wood, I think I agree with you, Jack. He might be a better player in 2025. I think the sky is the limit. Maybe not even the limit for a guy like James Wood. But Gino Suarez, and I'm sure Arm could get behind me too, because when we ranked the top 10 third baseman, like he and I just had him at like 7, and everyone else had him at like 11, 12. I was like, this guy in Cincinnati was a consistent 35 home run threat, continually 20 to 30% above league average while playing decent defense at third base. Then he goes over to Seattle, and he's still 30 home runs and 100 RBIs, and he's 30% above league average. And everyone's saying you can't hit at Seattle. Gino really didn't have that much of a problem. Then he goes over to Arizona, and guess what he does again? 30 home runs, 100 RBIs. It's clockwork with this guy. He is one of the better power hitters that we have in our game. So, but with that said, James Wood could be freaky.
Yeah.
But Gino has just done it so many times, and he's so damn consistent that I think next year, the floor of Gino Suarez, I would take over James Wood.
Yeah, that's fair. You know what you're getting. You're getting 30, and he's going to play fine. He probably play better third base than James Wood is going to play in corner outfield, because it's just weird. He's still settling in out there.
That's another point about Wood, is that the defense isn't quite there yet.
It's not there yet. It will be, but it's not there yet. How do we want to do it? Just next band of 10, or how do we want to do it, or just pick them out?
Yeah, here, I'll read off the next 10 for everybody listening, and then you guys can fire away how you see fit.
Yep.
So
before we get to that, though, can we take a quick break? Okay, you're good on your next band of 10.
So next up is Zach Allen at number 90, Tanner Scott at 89, Wyatt Langford at 88, Colton Cowser at 87, Sonny Gray at 86, Felix Bautista at 85, Lawrence Butler at 84, Anthony Santander at 83, 82 is Jazz Chisholm, 81 is Sandy Alcantara, and number 80 is Shane McClanahan.
Okay, so you kind of sort of answered my question by saying that you do account for what has happened, although I still think you're wrong on this one.
Okay.
Do you really take a 35-year-old Sonny Gray over a 29-year-old Zach Gallen in 2025?
You know what? Like, yeah. Okay. Sonny Gray was really good last year. He has been just really, really good for a long time. I could make the argument, like I want to pull up the stats actually for Sonny Gray right now, that he might just be the most underrated pitcher in Major League Baseball. He never gets any respect in the freaking Cy Young market, even though he's continually near the top 10 in votes. He's a guy who I know is 35 years old, but he's coming off a season, 166 innings at a 3.84 ERA, and all the underlying metrics said he was better than that. In 2023 with the Twins, 2.79 ERA and 184 innings. The year before that, a 3.08 ERA. He's got a 3.51 career ERA. The dude has been nails forever and nobody cares. So yeah, I still would take Sonny Gray. I think he's the man. And to be fair to, Gray over Gallen, like Gallen is coming off a little bit of a tough year, and he really broke onto the scene over a couple of seasons. But Sonny Gray's just been doing it year after year. And Sonny
Let me
Gray
let me
comes in the year
poke
healthy. I think he shoves again.
let me poke a hole here. You said Sonny Gray's coming off a really good year. You said 166 innings at a 3.85.
Yeah, really solid year.
All right, and Gallen's coming off of what was the terminology you just used?
Really solid year. Really
No,
great year.
Gallen.
He's coming off one of
Pretty
his, I don't remember even what I said.
Pretty disappointing year.
For Gallen
Is that
standards,
what you
correct.
said?
Yeah, because I
So
expected
Gallen,
more. Actually, I
100
faded him.
So 148 innings at a 3.65. So 20 points better than Sonny Gray. Was a disappointing year compared to a really good year.
But I also look at the underlying metrics. That if you're just looking at ERA, like Sonny Gray pitched to a 3.12 FIP and a 2.82 xFIP. So I would say he got a little bit unlucky.
Yeah,
And then the
those
year
are
before
numbers
that,
I can't comprehend. You
but the
you
year
win.
before,
You win the battles of the brains.
and the year before that, it was an ERA under 3. So in the past 2 seasons, he's been like a low 3s guy eating up innings, just being the man. Nobody cares. Nobody cares about Sonny Gray. I
think
care.
a lot of people
I
care.
care about Sonny Gray.
I think I'm trying to look at the inning distribution here. I still think Gallen would have thrown close to, if not more innings, close to the same, if not more. I think actually slightly less, but you have 184 innings at a 2.79 from Gray, and then the 166 innings at a 3.84. Gallen threw 210 innings
Yeah.
the other year. Like
Can you-
last year he was a little banged up.
Yeah.
Still threw to a 3.65, but 210 innings at a 3.47. It's pretty darn good. And then the year before that, a 2.54 in 184 innings.
So let me give you this. Zach Gallen, since the start of the 22 season, so last 3 full seasons, and mind you, he's 6 years younger than Sonny Gray. Zach Gallen, over the last 3 years, 542 innings at a 3.20. Sonny Gray, 470 innings at a 3.24. So nearly identical ERAs, but Gallen has thrown 70 more innings.
What about the xFIP?
Oh, I don't have the xFIP in front of me. I'm sorry.
So what I will say is Fangraphs agrees with me. All of their projections have Sonny Gray as a 3.5 win player last year or this upcoming year. They don't have Gallen approaching 3. So what I will say is Fangraphs, all of them agree that Sonny Gray will have the better season this year. And
All
we'll
of
just have to
them. I
wait
think
to
it's
see.
an algorithm.
I'm saying all the different ones. They have
the
like
committee.
7 different ones. I'm saying
Yeah.
the algorithms, all 7 different ones that have different stats all involved in them, all say that Sonny Gray they think is gonna have the better year. So we'll see.
All right.
We'll see.
All right.
I'm excited to see that one play out.
I don't have anything against the Bautista, Butler, Santander, Jazz. I wanted to say maybe Jazz was a little too high, and then I looked at it and I'm like, he racked up 4 WAR and hit 20 plus homers and stole 40 bags, and while being like ragdolled around the entire field. So I mean, I could see Jazz being a top 50 player this season. So I don't have a problem with that either. And then Sandy, like I know if I bring it up, the conversation we're gonna have is he's coming off a TJ, and before the TJ, which may have had a reason why, like the elbow was going at the time, but he wasn't as good after the winning unanimous Cy Young. So I get it, but I still think I would take Sandy this year over a lot of the guys ahead of him.
I actually have a question. Sandy versus Shane McClanahan. Because they're 81 and 80. I mean, I could hear any argument. I just picked Sandy because I think, or excuse me, I picked Shane McClanahan because I think just on a per inning basis, McClanahan's talent is just insane. But Sandy's just gonna throw with a lot of innings and be great. So
you say
I
on
could
a
hear
per
anything.
inning basis. You say on a per inning basis, but like innings are really valuable with Sandy. You know, I love McClanahan. I'm like the biggest McClanahan fanboy in the world, but it's Sandy 1,000 times over. Like one of them has a unanimous Cy Young under his belt, and the other doesn't.
I think that's you being the new radio voice of the Marlins speaking, because you have been a Shane McClanahan guy forever.
Yeah, but one of them has a unanimous Cy Young, and one of them doesn't.
No, I know. Absolutely, that is accurate. All I'm saying is both are coming off TJ. Sandy was coming off a 4.14 ERA, and Shane McClanahan is coming off a much better ERA. But Sandy does eat more innings. So it's kind of like, well, at least we have seen 166 from Shane before. It's not just we've never seen him been able to pitch a full season. And now in this day and age, I mean, isn't 180 innings kind of the new 200 innings?
Then what does that make 200 innings?
Amazing. I mean, Sandy's awesome. Both of these guys are great. That's why I can hear the argument for either of them. And I'm going to refer back to your list, Arm. Separating by 3 guys is not that big of a deal, but 80 to 81, huge
What?
deal.
Yeah. Well, yes, but there's a stack of 2 guys coming off of TJ.
There is a stack. I
And
think Shane McClanahan puts up a better season next year than Sandy Alcantara. Yeah.
okay. I would take Sandy in the F4 department, but I could see McClanahan in the ERA department.
Yeah. And again, I was also thinking like normal Sandy, if I knew he wasn't coming off TJ, like we just expect him to eat a ton of innings. And quite honestly, I kind of do too, but it's really hard to do that off TJ, right? It's not quite as hard to just be dominant, maybe less innings for a guy like Shane McClanahan.
Really hard. It's also very hard to do off TJ.
Everything is really hard, but these guys in particular, I feel more confident that Shane McClanahan will be the better pitcher.
Interesting.
Slightly though.
79 to 70.
Yep. Next
Perfect.
block.
So Christian Walker comes in at 79. Pablo Lopez comes in at 78. Nico Horner at 77. Byron Buxton at 76. Brenton Doyle at 75. Dansby Swanson at 74. Teoscar Hernandez at 73. Michael King at 72. Patrick Bailey at 71. And Max Fried comes in at number 70.
So can I be honest?
Go ahead.
I have pretty much no problems with this clumping at 10. Like, I love the Teoscar Hernandez respect. I love the Brenton Doyle respect. I'm just thinking, like, I understand Buxton has been better than Luis Robert when he's been on the field. I just don't really understand Byron Buxton being in a different breath than Luis Robert at this point because he's always hurt. Like,
he's always hurt, but he's always good.
Yeah,
like,
but
Byron
I
Buxton
feel like
awesome
those kind of guys should like land in the 90s, not in the mid 70s.
I think I understand where you're coming from. Absolutely. But I also think that Byron Buxton is still displaying top 25 talent. So I dropped him basically down 50 spots because he continually gets injured. But I think in terms of talent, like if we were just, on a series or something and everybody was at full health, like I'd rank Byron Buxton up there with just about anybody still.
So the case for Buxton being 76 and Royce Lewis not being on this list is just he's been good in short spurts for longer.
Yeah, and Royce Lewis did struggle a little bit last year. He was not the perfect Royce Lewis that we're kind of used to. Still good. Like if you still look at, I want to say a full season, but it of course wasn't a full season. But he wasn't quite as prolific. The defense is good at third, but honestly, I don't even know if I could make I don't even know if I have a take about his defense because I just haven't seen enough. Like this guy just has not been on the field basically at all. And he's also already hurt to start the season. So another guy that you'll see is missing is Garrett Cole, right? Garrett Cole's not going to play this year, so he's not on the list. And if you're hurt to start the year, I docked you down a little bit, right? We'll get into the 50s where Spencer Strider lays, and I want to make him higher, but he might not come back until May, right? Ronald Acuna Jr. I think is a top 5 talent, but he's not going to start the season healthy, so I moved him down a little bit. So that's, again, kind of where I'm coming from on the injury standpoint, but it's tough.
I'm just kind of so with Buxton, best case scenario is what, 100 games, 105 games, what he did last year.
I mean, if we're talking best
OPS,
if we're talking best case scenario, he plays every game.
But that's not even, they're not even trying that.
No, but technically that is the best case scenario.
If we're talking best case scenario, he hits 150 homers.
Yeah.
But feasible scenario is he plays in the best, his body's responding great, and he's playing 115 games.
Optimistically feasible is 120, 115, 120.
He did play 140 almost a decade ago.
Oh, wow. Which administration was that?
No, think about it, though. He's kind of getting on a heater a little bit. 92 games in 2022, 85 games in 23, 102 games in 2024. We're starting to see it climb a little bit. Next year, 115. And he's going to be like a 5-win player in 115 games, too. I mean, he was a 3.7 win player in 102 last year. He was a 3.5 win player in 2022 in 92 games. He was a 4-win player in 61 games in 2021. I mean, he's probably going to be he's probably going to finish top 75 in WAR if he plays 110 games. Probably will.
I get it. It's one that just it could 100% blow up in my face. But if I were picking like if I were building a team for this year, there's 100 players I'm taking over Buxton
Oh,
because I can't roll the dice with him
to be honest
anymore.
with you, I want
Can't
to
do
move
it.
him higher. There's a part of me that wants to move him higher.
You
Get
wait,
your
what?
head
Why
out of
didn't
the
you
gutter.
mention 2023? What happened that year?
Did I not mention 2023? I don't know why
Oh,
that matters that much.
okay.
Yeah, I mean he's
Um,
terrible. 97 WRC plus 0.64. He was hurt, Aram. What are you gonna make fun of a guy because he was
Oh, he
hurt?
was hurt. He was
Hurt,
hurt.
dude. What are you gonna do? You're gonna make fun of a guy because he was hurt? Dick. He's so mean to
um,
these guys.
that's all I got in this
Injuries?
grouping.
All right. So, Jack, anything else on this one?
No, again, I really liked it except for Buxton.
I was surprised that you guys. I thought everyone was gonna rip apart Cowser over Langford.
No,
I
I mean
get it.
Cowser was just better last year.
Yeah.
I get it, but I like Langford for this year, but I mean Cowser looking like he can play center field as well. I know Langford actually improved defensively too, but I I can understand that one, so I don't have a problem with it.
Langford is immensely talented, but I keep saying that like, oh, in the second half he took this huge leap. No, Jackson Chorio did. Jackson Chorio put up a 915 OPS in the second half and then put up a 306 WRC plus in the playoffs. I know it was only 3 games, but he hit 2 bombs and he hit 455.
Playoff WRC plus 3-game sample. That's awesome.
I'll take it. It was 30. The only reason I brought it up because it was 306.
Yeah, a couple of homers.
But like Langford's second half OPS was 781. It's just it was highlighted by a September where he was unfreaking believable, and you could see it. There's defense, there's speed, there's power, there's everything, but he just hasn't quite put it together yet. But that's why he still comes in at 88 because I got to get him on the list. It's hard to place him, but
No, that's fair to
88
me.
is a perfect placement for him.
Otani, by the way, a 303 WRC plus in 2025 in his 2 games.
So Chorio was better.
Victorio was better in his 3 games than Otani was in 2.
Yeah. Spoiler alert, Shohei Ohtani's number 1. All right, moving on. So 69, I have Hunter Green. 68, I have Riley Green. Thought that was kind of fun. Yoshinobu Yamamoto comes in at 67. Kyle Schwarber at 66. Christian Yelich at 65. George Kirby at 64. Kerry Carpenter at 63. Ozzy Albies at 62. Yandy Diaz at 61. And Mason Miller at 60.
Okay.
Go ahead.
What have you
Wait,
been
can I
smoking?
can I say you're gonna make fun of Yandy being that high?
No.
Okay, good.
What are you smoking to convince yourself that Kyle Schwarber is the 66th best player in baseball?
Do you think he's worse or better?
Worse.
You think like maybe he should be farther down the list?
Yes.
Yeah.
So was Schwarber
Like you're telling me you seriously think Kyle Schwarber's the better player than Yoshinobu Yamamoto in 2025?
I mean, 32 bombs in 2021,
He's a
46
DH.
in
That's all he
2022.
does. That's literally all he does.
Well, Yoshinobu Yamamoto, all he does is pitch.
Yeah, but like there are elements to this. It would be like, oh, Yamamoto he's Ben Joyce. It's pretty much like if Ben Joyce was a starting pitcher, you're saying Ben Joyce is the number 66 player in baseball.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that I think Kyle Schwarber, I really want 46 or 47 home runs that he can deliver. I know he hit 38 last year, but the WRC plus is still 20, 30. Last year was 35% better than league average. He didn't hit 197 anymore. It was 248. He walked at a 15% clip. And what I will say is, when the moment's hot, I don't want to see Schwarber. I do not want to see Schwarber. And that's an element. You guys know I am a sucker for the bright moments. I'm a sucker for the playoffs. Like if you show up in those moments, I'm going to just bump you up. And Schwarber, I just believe in him in those moments. And with Yamamoto, like was 90 innings last year, and he looks good, but I would like to see him pitch over an entire season. I fully understand how talented he is. That's why he's this high. But with Schwarber, like, there's still a part of me where I'm deathly afraid if it's a big moment and he's coming up against my team. And again, I could continue to point to him being 35% better than the league average hitter last year with a low of 38 jacks. I mean, there was only 4 players last year who hit 40. Only 4. And he's been perpetually in that conversation. So, yeah, give me the Schwarb monster.
Seiya Suzuki had a higher WRC plus.
Yeah, but he didn't hit 38 jacks.
Yeah, but he played defense.
Yeah, well, Schwarber was trying his best and left.
Yeah, yeah. Looked. I don't even know if that was his best. Obviously I get the Profar thing because it was a one and done, but his WRC plus was higher. I,
I'm a sucker for
Schwarber.
jacks.
Schwarber was a glaring one to me, just
And
because he's a DH.
but it's also like, again, my list weighs what you have done as well. So the fact is that this guy has been over 45 home runs twice in the last 3 seasons. That really matters to me, and that still just sticks in my mind about how good he is. And yeah, I'm taking Schwarb.
Okay,
Okay.
have we gotten to Santander range yet?
Santander was
He was 83.
83.
He hit 44 last year.
Yeah, but
And he played the outfield.
Yeah.
yeah, but he didn't play the outfield well, and 44
but
was
did
like a
Schwarber?
I'm just saying, right? We're comparing the bats here, and I'll take Schwarber's bat over Santander's bat next year. We can do a WRC plus off any day of the week. I'll take home runs.
I'm not taking that. I think
Yeah,
Schwarber.
I'll take Schwarber. I'll take Schwarber's WRC plus, and I will take his home runs as well. And when Anthony Santander is playing a below average corner, like that's not going to bump you up over a guy like Schwarber. I'll take the stick.
Okay.
Agree to disagree.
That's fine.
I'm not big on the home run dependent DH being that high, like ahead of some of the other guys, but like even just in terms of value, like I'm probably taking Dansby Swanson. Like I'm definitely taking Hunter Green. I don't know. I think from a value perspective, you're getting more from those guys than the three true outcome DH.
Yeah, I think when I was making my list, like it kind of came down to like when the guys are in a similar grouping and they all have similar talent levels, like maybe guys a little bit worse in this department or this one, I'm just like, who do I want in the big moment? And I'd be afraid of Schwarber. Like I just would. That's just how I feel, and that's sometimes the separator when you could really make an argument for a lot of these guys. And just again, I'm going to continue to go back to has done it for 4 straight seasons and was obviously great with the Cubs and has just done it year in and year out. And he is rather home run dependent, but at the same time, walks 15% rate. I mean, that's elite, right? And he still hit 250 last year. So, yeah, we'll take that. I think he's going to get another 40 this year, probably 130, 140 WRC plus, and just keep breaking. He's going to hit like 15 home runs in June again. I mean,
Yeah,
it's going to be awesome.
So for the sake of the moment, Randy Arozarena wasn't top 100 then?
No.
If that's your criteria, I'm just asking.
No, I know, and that should tell you what I think of Randy Arozarena for the 160. Yeah, I mean, like I just him in Seattle, like he's so swing happy. He pissed me off when he was over there, but we'll see. Maybe he's the top 100 player this year.
59?
59. So yeah, let's get to the next. So at 59, we got Michael Harris. At 58, Pete Alonso. 57, Spencer Strider. 56, Dylan Cease. 55, Will Smith. 54, Alex Bregman. 53, Logan Gilbert. 52, Marcus Semien. 51, Matt Chapman. And at number 50, best reliever in baseball on my list, Emmanuel Clase. So I had to get a reliever in the top 50. Pushed him in there. To be honest, guys, I don't know where to rank these relievers. So I'll be perfectly honest with you. I tried my best.
The relievers are tough.
Yeah, they're really tough.
We had to put them on there. I can't just not have them,
Yeah.
I actually forgot there was one thing that in the last stretch that Ozzy Albies. I'm sorry, that's actually one of my biggest ones. I can't do the Ozzy Albies experience much anymore. He's never healthy. And like even like I know that 2023 he was healthy and 2021 it was like every other year kind of thing. So that's a little hyperbolic. But he's banged up a lot and he has some of the most dramatic splits of a switch hitter I've ever seen in the history of the world. And I wonder if he's just going to finally just full-fledged scrap it, but not to take us back. But I don't know. I don't know how far I would dock him down, but I just don't see it with Albies as much. But maybe that's a me thing.
I thought Peter was based in Aram. Like, have you ever heard that you and the Shredder have a lot in common or no?
Oh yeah, the Shredder hates him too.
The Shredder hates
The Shredder might know ball. That's all I wanted to get out. Honestly, though, like then I'm looking, it's like 33 home runs from second base. I get it. 4 WAR and
Good
23.
defense. He's just I fucking love Ozzy Albies, and it's
I
like
get it.
it seems like every time he gets injured, it's like not his fault. Like
Yeah.
getting hit by
No,
pitches or something.
they are kind of like freak injuries.
Yeah,
It's
that's
not like
fair.
soft tissue wear and tear.
It's
That's
just
fair.
whenever he's on the field, I'm like, this is one of the best second basemen in
Yeah.
baseball whenever he's playing.
He's
So and
infectious. I
it's
do
like
love him.
it's like 30 bombs, it's a ton of doubles, it's stolen bases too. He doesn't strike out at all. Like
Yeah,
I
it's
know
valid.
WRC Plus doesn't love him because he doesn't walk that much, but I love him. So
Yeah, no, that's fair. I don't have a huge qualm there. The next grouping though, Jack, how do you feel about Logan Gilbert and where he's at?
I love Logan Gilbert.
Do you think it's too low?
I think it's a little too low.
I think Bregman's too low too.
Yeah, those two jumped out to me, especially like, and
Tell me who-
I know again, it's not for 2025, but I do think like Bregman gets a little ballpark bump here. Like, I think he's going to be amazing at Fenway. So, but I just didn't really understand your criteria. The one for me is like Logan Gilbert. I think that guy's established himself as a top 10 pitcher in baseball. I think he should be within the top 50.
this is how I do it, just for anyone who's confused. It's about like half what have you done for me in the past like 4 or 5 seasons, but I'm obviously, looking at the career too, but mostly 4 to 5 last seasons. And then half 2025 looking forward. So try and blend that together. Because lists, I see a bunch of top 100 lists and it's like everyone just focuses on 2025. And it's like if you think that you can predict the actual 100 best players for 2025, like you're crazy, there's going to be guys popping out of nowhere. But if you can blend the two, that's what I think creates the perfect list, which we have here now.
So, by that criteria,
Yes.
was the Bo Bichette a correction of prior, or did last season tank the 4 or 5 years prior and the future projection that much?
Like,
I
how
just
much
look-
does 2021 matter compared to 2024?
I'll be honest, guys, I might have been wrong. I might have been wrong
That's
about
all I
Bo
need.
Bichette. I just like if he's not hitting, he's like a top 26 shortstop. Like, but if he's hitting, he's like a top 10 shortstop because of how good the bat can be. But then it was terrible last year, and I can't fall back on the defense, guys. At a premium position, I can't fall back on it. So it's all about the bat. And if I don't feel confident in the bat, I don't feel confident in you. So it was last season and 2025, not super confident in him. That's where we're at.
I'm just curious, like, what kind of curbs you from getting really excited about Logan Gilbert?
Not curbs. I mean, think about this for a second. So Logan Gilbert is at 53. The next pitcher on this list is Emmanuel Clase. You could say you'd rather have Logan Gilbert than
Maybe the next
Emmanuel
starter.
Clase on your team. I think that's totally fair, but I'm putting relievers in here. Number 44 is Logan Webb. So it's like, which one would you rather have? I'm taking Webb
I think
just
it's
for what he's
close.
done.
I think it's close.
Yeah, I think it's close. But Webb has just been doing it for a little bit longer, and I just feel more confident that he's going to turn in a good season. And I know it's really easy to pitch at Oracle, but there's nowhere easier to pitch than T-Mobile Ballpark. So with Logan Webb, it's slight, but that would be my next pitcher. So if you disagree with the Logan Gilbert ranking, that's okay. But just know the next pitcher is Logan Webb if you think.
I understand.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at like, and I understand the value of Semien playing every day. But like Gilbert threw 208 innings and he led the American League in WHIP. Like in terms of limiting base runners, there was nobody better in the American League last year.
Yeah, I mean, Logan Gilbert is awesome.
He's
Logan
awesome.
Gilbert is awesome. Like
I think he's top 50.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't really have a rebuttal for that. Logan Gilbert is fantastic. I just would rather take Logan Webb a little bit, and then it's about mixing and matching in here. Yeah, Logan Gilbert's great. I don't really have a rebuttal to that.
What
He's
about-
great?
To spoil the next batch, though, Adames is at 45 and Bregman's at 54.
Yes.
I think I'd rather have Alex Bregman
I
in
think you'd
terms
rather-
of just what has happened over the last 3 years. Bregman's 18th in F4 among position players and has run a 127 WRC plus, 14 F4 is the number, and just consistently he's 4 WAR guaranteed every year. Now I know Adames had a phenomenal year last year, and I would have been a little bit nervous about Bregman if he was playing in, let's say, Detroit. but he's not. He's playing in Boston, so it's going to be, I think, more of the same, if not better. Adames has been good, but has he been as good? Shortstop versus third, second base, I get it. But is there a 10-player gap between Bregman and Adames?
There might not be, but then you look at the 10 players in the middle of that, and then maybe you could say that there is. I think with Bregman, like, Bregman's going to pepper that monster, and we love the fit there. But with Adames, like Adames is going to a park in Oracle where it's like, oh, you think that the production might wean a little bit, and that's fair. But I think of both of them in a vacuum. Like, who would I rather have if I have just a standard ballpark and I'm starting, a team? I'm taking the shortstop who's hitting 30 bombs and playing good defense over the third baseman who's playing pretty good defense and hasn't hit 30 home runs
I
in a little
I
bit.
do
So
get that. I do
yeah,
get it.
that's kind of where I'm at on
Fair.
Adames, and he did sign a huge deal this offseason. Like the market clearly values him as
So did Bregman.
no, I know, but Adames signed for more, right? Of course, it's different because Bregman is older, and I think Bregman probably had a similar deal with Detroit.
Also depends how you look at more.
What do you mean? Well, yeah, 40
Like
million per, but Adames is what 189. What was that contract around there?
I think
Yeah,
he's
if
sub
Bregman
30
got
per.
offered the Adames contract, he's taking that.
Yeah, no, I'm totally with you.
Yeah,
So
but he didn't get offered that. And again, that has to do with age as well. But yeah, Bregman's body of work over his entire career is, of course, better than Willie Adames. But over the last like 3 seasons, 4.8, 3.3, 4.4, 3.1 in terms of WAR, 25 to 30 jacks every year, walking 10% of the time as a shortstop, 19% better than a league average hitter. I think I'm going to take that in a vacuum, but I
there.
could totally see Bregman having a better offensive season in Fenway compared to Adames at Oracle. But I'll
Fair.
still take you guys in an Adames versus Bregman F war off.
No, I'm good. I think I'm good on the F4 offs.
Arm you in? We got a couple of
Uh,
fun bets. We could just take it and see what happens. Or unless you don't agree with
no,
that one.
I do like Bregman on an F4 off. I'll take that.
All right, let's get after it. Sweet.
Okay. You got a deal there.
All right, let's get into the top 50 in a moment. Before that, one more quick break. All right, give it to us. 50 or 49 through 40.
Yeah, so just another reminder, Emmanuel Clase is at 50. Stephen Kwan comes in at 49. Jackson Chorio at 48. Jose Altuve at 47. Adley Rutschman at 46. Willie Adames again at 45. Logan Webb at 44. Framber Valdez at 43. Brent Rooker at 42. Cal Raleigh at 41. And Matt Olson at 40.
Olson over Cal Raleigh. I think.
Olson hit 54 homers.
Yeah, and Cal Raleigh hit 30 and won a platinum glove as a catcher.
I know. I
Yeah.
guess this is also baking in a little bit of 2025 projections from me personally. I think Olson's going to get right back to like 45 jacks and playing elite defense at first base. I know defense at first base compared to catcher
real
defense.
Quick, think about what you just said. Like, would you rather have 45 jacks and elite defense at first, or would you rather have 30 jacks and elite defense at catcher? For me, it's not close.
Yeah, that's not even a conversation.
I guess it's like if we're just reducing it to the home runs, yeah, your argument, like I'd rather have the catcher with that. But I think
I don't think
as
the
a
OPS
hitter,
is going to look much different.
like I think as a hitter, when I'm looking at a lineup and I see Matt Olson in it versus Cal Raleigh, like I fear Matt Olson significantly more versus Cal Raleigh, who can definitely get you those home runs at T-Mobile, which is wildly impressive. Like still top 40 player. I think he's my second best catcher. Like I even have him above Adley. Fucking love Cal Raleigh. He's a beast. But this is me making a stance on Matt Olson. I think he could potentially lead all of Major League Baseball in home runs this year. I think he's just going to get right back to swinging it. So I was like, between Matt Olson and Cal Raleigh, it was something actually I'm glad you're bringing up because it was like an argument that I had in my own head. And I was like, I just have a gut feeling Matt Olson's going to fucking destroy baseballs this year. And that's why he was one spot over. But funny enough, when I did my rough draft, Matt Olson was behind Cal Raleigh. And then I made the change.
Yeah, it's just because for me, like he seems to keep getting better, Raleigh, and as a catcher with the power that he provides, still, I'm gonna take the platinum glove defender there, and he's still going to get you 30 plus. And if they can figure out the batter's eye there, maybe he hits you 40. He's got the power to do it. But yeah, I'd go catcher over the first baseman. I think Olsen literally has to hit 50 plus to offset the value that Raleigh brings defensively, because I don't think the offensive gap is big enough to justify that.
No, I get where you guys are coming from too. And like, it kind of sucks that I had to take a stance on one guy over Cal Raleigh, because I tried to rank Cal Raleigh really high because I love the guy. Like, elite defense, 30 jacks. But like, Matt Olson put up a 161 WRC plus in 2023, and Cal Raleigh was at 117 last year. Would you take that? I would. And that's what I think he can replicate. Maybe not 161, but can he replicate the 147 that he had in Oakland? I think so, and I think I'd take that. And it's funny enough, that year where he did put up a 147 WRC plus, he was also a 5-win player. So that's why, for me, if I think he's going to hit 45 to 50 jacks and put up a 145 WRC plus, I'll take that slightly over Cal Raleigh.
It's crazy. Raleigh hit 34 last year.
Dog. I love Cal Raleigh. I didn't want to take a stance against him.
I think that's all I got in this batch, though. Like, Rooker's the man. I'm the huge Framber guy, and I get it, but comparing arms to bats is kind of impossible. And
I thought the Fromber and Webb stack was interesting, and I liked that you sided with Fromber over Webb.
I ranked Fromber over Webb in the pitcher ranking, so I'm here for that.
Yeah, it's kind of one of those two guys where it's like, if Jack, you told me that you like Logan Webb better than Framber, I would be like, you're right.
Yeah. Maybe.
And then if Aram, you said you like Framber better, I'd be like, you're right. They're kind of built from the same cloth, but don't you guys agree there's just something about Framber?
I mean, he just looks like a linebacker pitching.
I thought you guys might not like Altuve as low as he is at 47.
He might suck in left. Has anybody?
That's why I bumped him down the list. I'm so glad you brought that up. I was like, I'm kind of worried he's going to be horrible in left.
Have you seen him this spring? Like, he might be terrible out there.
Yeah, like I thought going into it, I was like, I'm going to rank. I mean, Altuve's the top 30 guy again. Of course he is. He's been like one of the best hitters in baseball,
no doubt,
forever. But I was like, oh God, he took a little bit of a downturn last year offensively. Now you're moving him out to left field, so he's got to adjust too. Like, I don't like that at all. But I still got to put him 47 because he's going to be a Hall of Famer.
Yeah. No, I looked into him specifically, and I was like, I love him. He's going to be really good next year still too. But if he replicates last year, which I think is probably fair, that's probably the right range for him.
No, honestly, if he replicates what he did last year, he's probably lower.
Yeah.
But I tried to. It's just Altuve. I got to give him.
He's been given the Altuve bump.
Yeah, I got to give him some love. You guys want to move over to the next stack or anything else?
No, I'm ready to go.
All right. So 39, we got Blake Snell. 38, Cole Reagans. 37, Manny Machado. 36, Jacob deGrom. 35, Marcell Ozuna. 34, Trey Turner. 33, Corbin Burns. 32, Carlos Correa. 31, Austin Riley. And number 30, Mike Trout. I think the most interesting group of 10 on this list.
Jack, any problems?
Yeah. So, like, it's a do we still love him like that question. I know he was dealing with some injury issues last year and he was DHing at the outset, but like, do we still love Manny Machado like this? Like, are we sure?
Dog. Yes.
Like,
Absolutely.
I agree, but like, I think he's a 3.5 to 4 win player every year, and that's probably in the 30s. But like, I don't know. There are just guys that we've discussed that I would expect to have, maybe a half a win or a win season better than him.
I don't know. He was a 7-win player in 2022, but you're right. He's been a 3.5 win player, ever since, but he's still getting his 30 jacks, and, the defensive WAR ratings didn't really like him last year. And I'll be honest, I'm choosing not to believe that. Like, I still view Manny Machado as an elite defender. So it's like the numbers can tell me whatever they want. Yeah. Manny Machado is a vacuum. So if I know he's a vacuum, I know I'm going to get my 30 jacks, and he's just 2 years removed from a 7-win season. Yeah, like, at it, he's still a superstar. Superstars gets thrown around a lot. Like, superstars should really just be in the top, 10 of this list. But, I mean, he's been a star in our league forever now.
I want to push on DeGrom, but it's Jacob DeGrom. Like it's
Yeah,
the
it's
same
like,
thing.
what do
to
you do?
Mike
DeGrom and
Trout.
Trout are impossible.
Yeah, it's like what are we going to even talk about there? Like it's just going to be a conversation of what ifs. It's kind of this is the what if section.
Yeah.
Correa as well. Like as much as I want to push back on Correa, he was enjoying some of the best baseball he's played in a while until he got hurt again.
Yeah.
So it's injuries still, but he was raking last year. He had a 155 WRC plus and 4.3 F4 and looked great. And then he got hurt through 86 games. So I don't really have any major issues here. I mean, even Trey Turner, I think you could maybe say I'd take the consistency over Correa or whatever, but Correa has been awesome, when he's been on the field. So I don't really have any huge issue. The 2023 was a little concerning, but again, what Correa was able to do last year when he was on the field kind of gave me confidence that when he is healthy, he can still be one of the better shortstops in baseball.
Correa passes the eye test as well as anybody in Major League Baseball.
Oh my God, I'm salivating over here. I mean, it's fucking 6'4", 220 pounds, and perfect looking shortstop. And he was playing incredible last year. I mean, he hit 310, 155 WRC plus, and I know he was hurt, but then he shows up in the postseason for the Twins in 2023 again and puts up a 183 WRC plus. He's also been 33% better than a league average hitter in the postseason in his career. He's got 18 home runs in 85 games, and he hasn't shown signs of slowing down other than injury, right? He was still great last year. So I thought that you guys were going to go to war and you were like, Correa's way too high.
No, I love him.
Good. I'm glad. Like Correa is, close to
I
it.
got one in the next batch though. Don't worry.
Yeah. I also just cannot believe that we're at this point. We haven't resorted to screaming. I yelled a little bit about the Schwarber thing, but that's really it. And I can't believe I'm going to echo this same thing that I said to you at the top because I said I was done. But I do believe that this is the best one that you've done over the course of the last.
Yeah. Can you make it a little shittier next time?
I agree. It is the best top 100 list, maybe ever. I mean, people are starting to say that. I mean, look at the YouTube comments. Everyone's like, best list ever, best list ever. Oh my God. Please, for everybody listening on YouTube, fill up the comments with that. Best list ever, best list ever. You guys can see it, so it's clear and obvious. And then with Trout, it's like Trout and DeGrom are the two hardest players to rank on this list. Because outside of Ohtani, would anyone be surprised if they were, let's say they played full healthy seasons? Maybe, Judge too, 3 and 4 on this list.
I mean, full. Mike Trout was balling last year.
Yeah,
before
balling.
Didn't we say that in 2019? Didn't we say that in 2022?
I'm curious, where would you guys rank them? Do you guys think they're too high on your personal, how you would do it?
If I were going into the year and it was just players I'd take on my team, it's impossible. I don't know. I think I would take them right ahead of the group of younger guys who have also gotten hurt a lot. So probably right in that range, to be honest.
To be honest, I would probably forget to take Mike Trout.
I probably would too. Again, 29 to 20, that's where I've got some things to point out.
All right, let's get into it. So first of all, 29 to 20 are a lot of my guys. So I'm willing to go to war too. So again, 30 is Mike Trout. Number 29, Jarren Duran. Number 28, Julio Rodriguez. Number 27, Chris Sale. Number 26, Jackson Merrill. Number 25, Rafael Devers. 24, William Contreras. 23, Garrett Crochet. 22, Fernando Tatis Jr. 21, Ronald Acuna Jr. And number 20, Ellie De La Cruz.
Where do you want to start, Aram?
And maybe I might get cooked in the YouTube comments for this, but the Tatis thing, I don't think I'm taking him over Crochet.
Interesting.
I don't think I'm taking him over William Contreras. This guy, I mean, since the motorcycle debacle, he's been good, not elite. Right? We have one elite Fernando Tatis Jr. season, and it was otherworldly in 2021. 7-win player, 42 homers in 130 games. It's crazy. But ever since then, it's he's on the cusp of getting back to that. He's on the cusp of, and people want to believe it so bad too. And maybe he will. I hope he does. It's his setup's a little bit different this spring training. Is this the year where he fully fully breaks out and it gets back to where he was. He's not a center fielder. He's not a shortstop. He's a right fielder. And he didn't grade out nearly as well as I thought he would. William Contreras is the best catcher in baseball. Rakes. Crochet, I get that it's been 1 year, but you see what this dude's doing in spring training? I know it's
he's my
spring
Cy
training,
Young
but
pick. He's my Cy Young pick. I agree with you. Absolutely.
so I'm taking that over the right fielder with above average offense and average defense.
So here's where I feel like Jack can sort of agree with me because I'll be honest, I think you're cooking Aram. Like there's a part of me that agrees with you, but I think Jack agrees with this part. Jack, look at me. What if? You know what
Facts.
I'm saying? Yeah,
So
you know what I'm saying,
facts.
Tatis? I mean, it's because he was like, I agree with you, Aram. He wasn't quite the 42 home runs, the 25 stolen bases, just the unbelievable talent. But a 3.5 win player last year in just 100 games, I know he's a little bit banged up, but in those 100 games, I thought he was pretty damn good. So what I'm thinking is, and it's hard because there's that push and pull of just tantalizing guy who can play platinum level defense.
Can he?
He did a year ago in 2023.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he did.
So he can do that. So I know that he can be possibly the best defensive right fielder in baseball. I know that, right, if we look at last year, he hit 21 home runs in 102 games. I don't think it's far off to say that he's probably going to hit 30. I'm not even calling for 42 anymore, but I think 30 is fair. And I also think that this guy got to get his legs moving. I mean, he stole 29 bases in 2023. So if he's a 30-30 guy playing platinum defense and right, shit. And then there's still that tantalizing it could be more. Like, because I think it's like tough to call this guy like, you know, the ceiling is capped. He's 26 still too. So there's just that tantalizingness to him. And I almost thought you guys would think I put him too low. That's why this list is fun. It's like my opinions of what you guys will think have been wrong this entire time.
I mean, I just William Contreras. I'm gonna take the number one catcher in baseball and I'm gonna run with it.
Yeah.
That's my thing. Is we back-to-back seasons where he's 5.5 WAR. I mean, close to 6 in 2023. And it's not like he's a slouch with the bat either. 125 WRC plus, 131 last year as well. Hits for average. He walks. He'll still sneak out 20 home runs. And then defending the way that he does, he's also, by the way, 27 for the entirety of this season. Maybe there's a little bit more power in there, like in terms of game power. He hits the living shit out of the ball. Just usually on the ground a little bit too much. I'm running with William Contreras over Tatis, and I'm taking Crochet over him too. I'm taking a Cy Young candidate over him.
Add it to the bet list. William Contreras versus Tatis war off.
Whoa.
Let's do it.
Done.
Yeah,
I'll
but-
take that too. Actually, as a
Sure.
Tatis super fan, I will totally take William Contreras over
No,
Tatis.
I love doing these because it's like we get to look back on them like at the end of each season. Like, you know, there have been a lot of seasons where I get the best of you guys or you guys get the best of me, but just to look back at these takes at the end of the year and be like, you thought this? And it's like, well, that was bad. Oh, I crushed you in this. So yeah, I'm always willing to. I put Tatis ahead.
Yeah.
I think he's going to be better in 2025. I'm willing to stand on it.
Okay. I like it. That's all I really got in this section. Acuna, look at what he did the other year. Like
Tough.
it was concerning that he was bad before tearing his
Yeah.
ACL again, but I wonder if, again, we've talked about it a little bit before, maybe that was a ticking time bomb and he just wasn't feeling right. So he's Ronald Acuna Jr. And to be honest, I don't know how to rank those two guys against each other. I have no strong feelings on that. Merrill, love him where he's at. Devers just had another really solid year. I've got no qualms.
I think it's tough because if Acuna was healthy, like let's say he didn't tear his ACL a second time, he'd be number 3 on this list.
Probably, yeah. Yeah.
Or maybe 4, right? But like in my top 5.
Yeah.
He was in my top 5 when I made the list after that great year. So it's like, but then also to your guys' point, like if we're talking about 2025, I'm willing to make a Tatis bet. I'm not really willing to make an Acuna Jr. bet because how is he going to react off that torn ACL? We've seen it the first time, and it was his worst season to date. Now off his second, what is it going to look like? I still think he's going to be a good player. That's why I still had to, rank him high. And knowing the top end talent, like if he is okay,
Yeah.
right? If he rehabs this better and he gets back to Acuna, like 21 is way too low.
Yeah.
So just outside the top 20 for Acuna.
Yep.
Real quick in this clump, blind resume test. I texted Aram separately. Do you have that guy's page pulled up?
Oh, I didn't see it. Yeah.
Okay.
I can pull it up right now.
Okay.
We're working together.
Yeah, blind resume time. Okay.
This should be illegal. Working together should be illegal.
No. Give
I'm
me,
just kidding. Go ahead.
So, Aram, in 2024, give me like really any pertinent number on that dashboard that jumps out to you. Like just throw me numbers and you'll be player A, I'll be player B.
All right. 116 WRC plus, 3.9 F4, 20 home runs, 24 bags.
Let's just go like back to back. So you said WRC plus, what was it?
116.
My guy was 129. F4?
3.9.
Mine was 6.7 homers.
20.
My guy was 21 bags.
24.
Mine was 34. How about K rate?
25%.
Mine was 21.8%. Do you want player A or player B? Do you want Aram's guy or my guy?
I think your guy is Jaron Duran. Who would? Oh, it'd be Jackson Merrill, I bet.
No. How the hell is Julio Rodriguez above Jaron Duran?
Oh, I actually like that debate. Let's get after it. So yes, in 2024, Jaron Duran was objectively a better player than Julio Rodriguez was. Not debating that at all. But in 2022, as a 21-year-old, he was a 6-win player, 5.8. In 2023, he was a 5.8 win player. 2024, he had a down year. Jaron Duran has done this once. Julio Rodriguez is still an incredible player, also hitting in the hardest park to hit in Major League Baseball while playing elite defense in center field. So I'm not willing to dump him lower than a guy who has done it once. But to be fair, I really fucking believe in Jaron Duran. That's why I have him at 29, right? So I believe that is going to continue. But I still think Julio, in terms of pure talent, again, we can start talking about top 20, even higher. And he is coming off 5.8, home runs, steals. And then you guys know when he's hot, he's like the best player in baseball. When he's hot. I know it's
when he's hot.
It's not a great
Problem
argument.
is he goes through 3 months where he's not hot.
Exactly. It's not a great argument, but I do want to give him a slight break for hitting in T-Mobile, and I want to give him a slight break for last year, his worst season, when he was still a 4-win player and he was 2020. So I'm going to take that for next year. I'll do a Julio Duran war-off too. Why not? Fuck it.
All right. I'll take it.
Yeah, take it.
Duran, yeah.
That's you guys.
We got people in the Discord tracking all of the bets, so we can throw them all out there.
Cool. War off.
All right.
Next clump. So at number 19, Corbin Carroll.
Oh, yeah, we said 20 already. Sorry.
Yeah, at 20 is Ellie De La Cruz. 19, Corbin Carroll. 18, Paul Skeens. 17, Freddie Freeman. 16, Kyle Tucker. 15, Ketel Marte. 14, Zach Wheeler. 13, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. 12, Yordan Alvarez. And number 11, Corey Seager.
Jack, freak out about Paul Skeens already.
First of all, I always love for anybody listening to, like, I read the TED and then you guys, I see you just typing and smiling. And I'm like, oh no, what's coming?
Yeah.
I gotta get my stats ready.
Yeah, no, I got you.
I'll give Jack the floor for Paul Skeens. I already knew he was going to bug out about that one. I'll start with just Ellie De La Cruz. But I want to complain, but who am I going to take him over? Like, that's the challenge.
Yeah.
Corbin Carroll is...
There is one person I'm picking on here, but it's ahead of Corbin Carroll. So,
oh, who?
No. Like, I'm going to pick on somebody that doesn't deserve
it.
But I want to hear who Aram picks on, and then I'm going to pick on another guy when it comes to Skeens.
Okay, perfect.
I think I'm taking Ellie De La Cruz over Corbin Carroll.
Yeah.
I mean, it's 20 versus 19 on the list. I totally see where you're coming from. Do you know, I saw Corbin Carroll fist a ball out. Did you see that?
Yeah,
that
I
posted.
was
I was like, how's that possible? So he's got that power too? Like, you were the one who was telling me when he was coming up as a prospect, like, this guy hit a ball 470. And then I watch him in his first season with Arizona. I was like, Arm, I think you even undersold it. This guy's got dummy pop. And the problem is, like, Ellie, didn't he lead the league in strikeouts last year?
He hit leadoff, right?
He was one of the league leaders in errors too, which is not the greatest stat. And I'm not trying to say as like a
we're citing
again.
errors, baby.
All
Let's
I'm
go.
saying is sometimes you bring up things when you're deciding between the top 20 baseball players. Like Corbin Carroll, he might not steal 70, but I think he's going to steal 50. Ellie De La Cruz is probably going to hit 25 home runs. So is Carroll.
I think Ellie De La Cruz can hit 40.
I think he can hit 40. I think Ellie can go 40-70.
I mean, I'm down. I'm down for that. Like if that happens, yeah, I'm wrong, and we'll take Ellie De La Cruz over anybody. But he has one season, and it was what 24 home runs, if I remember correctly.
25 last year for Ellie.
25 last year. What was Corbin Carroll in his first year? Do you have that in front of you?
Corbin Carroll in his first year,
or maybe just his high in home runs.
I'm pulling it up right now.
I got
25.
25 too. So again, like a little Corbin Carroll's hit as many home runs at Chase Field.
One of them
last year.
Shortstop.
Hold on one sec. Last year, Chase Field was the hardest park to hit home runs at for lefties. The hardest. And he still hit 22. Like he's got stupid pop, and he obviously plays elite defense too. While Ellie,
not really.
I think he plays
not really.
Defense
He
in a corner.
He's a corner outfielder, and he's slightly above average. His speed does not make him as elite as many would think.
Yeah, but he's so fast.
Yeah, no. So
that's the only
what did
reason
I
why he's
just
not
say?
bad.
What did I just say 5 seconds ago?
I know, but he is so fast. Did you know that?
Ellie's faster.
Ellie is faster. I think Corbin Carroll right now is better at corner outfield than Ellie De La Cruz is at short.
I just disagree with you.
Do you?
Yeah,
do you disagree, Arm, too?
I do, because I mean we're talking about like 13, 14 outs above average, and the errors. Yeah, it stinks. But if we've talked about in the show where if you boot a ball, but then you get to 2 balls in the hole that would have been hits for almost any other shortstop in baseball, you're still more valuable than I think the average shortstop if he didn't boot those and then the other 2 got through.
Yeah, no, I think you're like that's why we don't use errors a lot. But I was just trying to come up with some things because they're the best players in baseball. Yeah. So it's like they're so razor thin too. So, but I do stand on that. I think that Corbin Carroll's a better defender, in right field than Ellie De La Cruz is at shortstop. And I think weirdly, I mean, Ellie De La Cruz gets to play his games at Great American Ballpark, where it's the second easiest park to hit home runs at, and Corbin Carroll still put up 25 home runs the year before and 22 last year, still has a lot of those stolen bases. And Corbin Carroll has also done it longer than Ellie De La Cruz has. Ellie De La Cruz did it once. Corbin Carroll's done it twice. So it's like, they're so close. But I'll take Carroll.
Carroll also was not good last year before the All-Star break.
But we know it's the shoulder thing. And even with a bad first half, he still turned in a 4-win season.
Okay.
Schemes.
All right.
Out.
I hate to ID this guy because I think he's awesome, but I just listened to Peter yesterday, like on the mailbag, say, why couldn't Skeen throw 180 innings at a sub-2 ERA?
Oh, I agree with that.
And is that not the best pitcher in baseball? 180 innings at a sub-2?
No, I agree. He could.
Yeah.
Emphasis on could.
Yeah.
Paul Skeens has 130 big league innings.
Yeah, and they've been at a sub-2 ERA.
That's why he's my third-ranked pitcher. I only have Wheeler and Skubal ahead of him.
So I just think if you have those, try and set realistic expectations for him. I don't know what realistic expectations are. Like, maybe it's repeating.
Why should we even put expectations on him? Let him set it for himself.
So that's the thing. When you have a starting pitcher that is 22 years old that you're not putting expectations on, how do you not take that guy over the best second baseman in baseball? And again, I love Ketel Marte, but I'd rather have the best pitcher in baseball over the best second baseman in baseball.
But also, you know how I feel about the playoffs, and Ketel Marte might be the best weapon in the playoffs
I love that hitting
got.
streak. That was an awesome hitting streak.
Oh, don't downgrade it like that. It's not just a hitting streak. He's hitting like 350 in the playoffs.
Was great. He was awesome.
Yeah.
But are we doing I can't do the postseason thing when we're talking about a guy that throws 102 and developed a splinter that turned into the best pitch in baseball.
That'd probably work in the playoffs too, right?
Yeah, no,
I think it would taper off. Cold weather.
Ketel Marte, 151 WRC plus 6.5 WAR player last year. Like Skeens didn't put up 6.5 WAR last year.
He threw 130 innings.
That's my thing. You have like I am trying to blend what have you done and what do I think you can do in 2025?
So,
That's why a guy like Skeens is still so high in my opinion, even though he's only throwing 130. So we just have a disagreement on how to make lists.
Based on your criteria, I understand why you have him there, but you're just going to find out. Like, you're going to find out quick, and we're going to be sitting here in October, and I'm like, you're an idiot.
I mean, I'd still put him at like 18.
Well,
one of the best.
To Jack's point,
calling
though,
Aram an idiot for him ranking the 18th best prospect, and you're like, he's going to
totally different. It could
I
not
think it's
be
very
more
different. Because these are like guys that are already here, and like, well, here's the other thing too. Skeens in your next list is going to be in the top 5.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see. Maybe he's a 3-2 guy. Maybe Keller overtakes him.
No.
Maybe Keller is the real ace.
Makes a lot of sense. Yeah, walk rate's going to go up. He's going to K a lot fewer guys. Yeah,
I didn't want to come on the show and like talk negatively about Paul Skeens. That's not what I wanted to do here. But I stand on what I said though. I mean, based on my criteria of what have you done, as well as factoring in 2025.
Sure.
I'm taking like the World Series MVP and Freddie Freeman, who I still think is going to rake. Kyle Tucker, who is coming off a 180 WRC plus and is one of the most well-rounded players in our game. And also, it does come down to like pitchers I just have a little bit lower. Like my top pitcher is Tarek Skubal. He's at number 9. So it's like I just have them a little bit lower in general. So
I'm just excited to see you in October or November, and I just Vince Carter honey dip in your face, and it's going to be awesome.
I hope that happens because that means Paul Skeens achieved 180 innings at maybe like a low 2s or even below 2s. And then that means we get to watch it together. And all I have to do is say, yeah, Jack, you're right. He shouldn't have been 18th. He should have been 7th. I'll gladly say that. If I get a full season of Paul Skeens, sure. Love to be wrong.
Yeah, I agree though with Jack. I'm taking a guy that is the Cy Young favorite over a second baseman, even though it's really, really good.
He's amazing.
Second baseman.
He was a 6-win second baseman, but like,
yeah.
Where was Paul Skeens on your pitchers list, Arm?
2 behind Skubal.
2 behind Skubal. Yeah, he was just 3 for me behind Skubal and Wheeler because you guys know I'm a sucker for the playoffs.
Yeah.
I'm a sucker for it. I just say I'll admit it. And I know that's not the best analysis.
I love talking about the postseason on March 19th.
I'm just saying that matters to me. It matters to me. And people could say that that's the problem with the list. That's your opinion. Playoffs.
Cool.
They do stuff to me.
Take us home. Take us home, boyo. 10-1.
The top 10 players in Major League Baseball, according to me. At number 10, Bryce Harper. At number 9, Tarek Skubal. At number 8, Jose Ramirez. At number 7, Francisco Lindor. At number 6, Mookie Betts. At number 5, Gunnar Henderson. At number 4, Juan Soto. Number 3, Bobby Witt Jr. Number 2, Aaron Judge. And you know who's number 1, Shohei Ohtani.
God, that's going to bang on IG Reels.
I think it will.
Jordan is better than Bryce Harper. I think.
Yes, he is.
Yeah, he probably is. It's just...
Oh, God, you're not giving me any
I
pushback.
know. So I think it's tough because Bryce Harper is still, I mean, how much do you value first base defense? Got better at that position. We'll say you hate DHs. Remember you said that.
Yeah, I don't like first baseman much either.
I'm just saying, you said you hate DHs. I think that's what you said. You hate them.
Yes, unless you're maybe one of the best hitters
in baseball.
He also played 53 games in the outfield and was better than Schwarber. Kind of.
Which
you mean the 66th best player in baseball?
I mean, I just when we're comparing DH to first base, I don't care.
Yeah, I will say, like, when I'm looking at both players, I did give Harper just the edge, and you can say I'm wrong. I mean, there's just something about that man, Bryce Harper, and he is coming off a 5.2 WAR season with a 145 WRC plus and 30 jack. So it's not like
that's almost as good as 5.3 with a 168.
It is almost as good as that.
And 35 jacks.
What was Jordan's walk rate?
11%.
Harper's was 12.
Okay, what was?
But
the
Jordan
rate?
got on base at a 392 clip.
what we all can agree is that Harper is much more patient and he's got more aura.
Wait, hold on. Hey, your aura meter is so off. That dude steps into the box, and I'm like, at Jordan, I'm just struck by aura.
I know. But it's also, again, I know I'm trying to balance what have you done. Bryce Harper has been one of the best players of this generation, and Jordan is on his way.
He's on his way. He's there.
I wouldn't say he's already one of the best players of our generation.
Have you not seen enough to feel comfortable that he's going to consistently be really
He's
good?
going to be, I agree. But he's not stamped one of the best players of our generation.
I think he is.
I think he's stamped as one of the best hitters that we've seen in the last 20 years, with the last 4 seasons that we've seen from him.
I agree. If he continues, but I'm saying like best players of our generation. I'm thinking Trout. I'm thinking Harper. I'm thinking DeGrom. I'm thinking Kershaw. I'm thinking
So you should just rank
Verlander.
all the old guys top.
No, I'm
Yeah,
not saying
so
that.
If that's your like, nobody
Buster
under the age
Posey.
of 30 is going to be there. So all right, like, what's your take on Soto then?
Wait, why isn't
like-
Verlander on this list?
Yeah, I have no problem with where Soto is, to be honest. Like, I'm just like, okay, if you're using that criteria against Jordan, then you got to use that criteria against Soto because it's been the same exact sample.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not using anything against Jordan. Like Jordan is 12, Bryce Harper is 10, Juan Soto is 4. So I'm not really holding it against any of them. They're just slightly lower. And I got to be honest with you guys, when I envisioned my top 10, I just couldn't take Bryce Harper off it. And I'll hold the candle and be like, if you don't agree with that, that's fine.
So
I just had to have Bryce Harper in my top
is that
10.
a term? I'll hold the candle. Is that a term?
I think it is. It is now.
Did you make it up?
WRC plus since 2019. Aaron Judge 180, Yordan Alvarez 166, Mike Trout 165. There's a few more players in between there. Juan Soto 160, Shohei Ohtani 153, Freddie Freeman 149, Bryce Harper 145. We're talking about a 21% difference in offensive output since Yordan Alvarez debuted.
Since he debuted.
Yeah, I mean, I fucking love Jordan. I didn't want to shit talk him here. It's like tough. Like, I got nothing to poke in Jordan's game. Nothing.
And we have a
just the
Corey
fact that he-
Seager difference
fact-
between the two.
Well, Corey Seager at least plays great defense at shortstop. That's where, the difference is. But, no, it's still a perfect list. But Bryce Harper, Jordan, I think the only people who are going to back me in that is Phillies fans, and maybe not even all of them. But I'll stay on it. Bryce Harper is still my 10.
I think that was the only big one I had. I think you can make a Lindor over Mookie case at this point.
I think
Yeah.
you could too. It's Mookie Betts.
Yeah, that actually I
That's
take
facts.
as a fair. No,
Yes.
that is facts. I take
No.
that as a fair rebuttal.
It is
It's Mookie Betts.
But
And
he's the host of On Base on Matt.
Yeah. No, I mean, Francisco Lindor is coming off just an awesome season. I mean, he's one of the best defenders in the sport. It's 30 home runs. It's in the big moments. He's a perfect shortstop. He's my number one shorts. Oh no, he's not my number one shortstop in baseball
Bobby
because
Witt, he's your number 3.
Yeah, he's number
Gunnar
3.
and Bobby Witt ahead of him.
There's so many good shortstops in the league right now. This is awesome.
Yeah.
You could make the argument for Mookie versus Lindor, definitely based off last year, but I'm still taking Mookie.
Yeah.
Even though Lindor in the big moment.
In the big moments, you're
If
right.
you're a sucker for the big moment, man.
I'm a
look
sucker
at
for the
Mookie
big
Betts'
moment.
2023 wild card.
Yeah, I mean, he
Or
had
not
a
wild
tough
card,
wild card.
DS.
But Mookie Betts was better in the playoffs last year, which is good. But yeah, I agree. Lindor in the big moments, that shortstop defense, but Mookie could go over there and play shortstop too. He could play the outfield. It's tough. It's tough.
Last one from me. Are you sure Ohtani at 1?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. What do you guys think about Gunnar at 5? I thought people might have a little bit of an issue with that, but it's like, I don't. He's
amazing.
He's 40 jacks. I mean, he had 37
Amazing.
last year with 20 steals and great defense. I mean, he's like what top
Okay defense.
You think it's just okay?
I think it's just okay.
Maybe last year metrically, but I think he's a good defender at shortstop.
So what would be the difference between Mookie and Gunnar then?
I think Gunnar is better than Lindor. I think Gunnar is more talented than Lindor is. I think the bat is just so overwhelming, and I think Gunnar Henderson plays good defense at short. So elite defense from Lindor.
That's not who Aram asked about.
Oh, who did he? Gunnar versus Mookie?
Yeah.
Yeah, Gunnar just takes a little bit of a next step. Because, I mean, it was an 8-win player. It was an 8-win player
where the
last year.
forecasting comes in.
Yeah, I think, again, in 2025, like, I think he's probably going to replicate another 8-win season where I don't think that Mookie Betts is going to put up an 8-win season. And I don't think Lindor, again, is going to put up another close to 8-win season. So
Mookie's 1 year removed from a 8-win season.
No, I agree. Fucking, that's Mookie Betts. But I think that you guys want to take a war off between the three of them?
No,
but
Okay.
the criteria, it was, what have you done?
I know. No, but again, half is projecting for 2025. So I think that Gunnar Henderson will be the better player of those two. And also, Gunnar's body of work is still pretty damn solid.
2 years. It's been a hell of a 2 years.
Been a hell of a 2 years. But it was just so prolific last year that sometimes that might take a little bit of priority.
So you think Wheeler has a better year? Wheeler has a better year than Skeens?
I think that
You're forgetting about the other half of the equation, Aram.
no, yeah, I think that I would not be surprised at all if Wheeler has a better year than Paul.
I will war bet the living crap out of you.
Okay.
I will ERA bet.
Please.
I will do anything.
Yeah, pick a stat.
Let's take an F4. Let's take an F4 stat. Sure. Yeah.
I will do. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, Skeens at format.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, sure.
Sure. Okay.
You guys are acting like it's chopped liver. It's Zach Wheeler.
I understand. That's fine. It's Paul Skeens.
You ever seen a pitcher like him?
I do really love Paul Skeens. You know that. Yeah, I'll take Wheeler. Sure. I mean, Wheeler also, again, the postseason pedigree. He's the best pitcher in the postseason that we have in our game. That matters to me. Game 7 of the World Series. Who do you want? I'm taking Wheeler.
We haven't seen it yet. He's
I'll
22.
take
I'm just saying. I'm taking Wheeler.
Skeens.
I'm taking Wheeler in that
Skeens.
game. And my team's winning. I'm taking Wheeler.
All right.
Especially
Agree
against
to
that
disagree.
Pirates offense.
Yeah.
No, we're comparing teams.
I think that's all I got, because the criteria I wanted to apply it there. I just squeezed out a free win there, so that's all I wanted. I wanted another bet in my favor. That's what I got.
I'm
Great
good with
list,
Wheeler
Peter.
over-
It sucked.
Yeah, I thought it was a damn good list. And again, if you have any problems with it, you can find it on justbaseball.com, but you can also leave comments in the YouTube section. And also join our Discord, because we'll be talking about the top 100. It drops as you're listening to this. Again, you're listening to this on Friday, so we'll be discussing this in the Discord. It's still only $5 to join until opening day. And once you sign up, so let's say you sign up today, March 21st, you get all the way up to April 21st. And then again, on opening day, it goes to $10 a month. But it's an affordable place to come hang out, talk baseball across all of our 6 different verticals. You can get my picks early. Arm's talking about, again, all the prospect rankings that he's coming out with. We're discussing my top 100, all the debates. It's going to be an absolute blast. So make sure you can find the link to that in the episode description. Go get yourself some Just Baseball merch. I'm rocking the sweatshirt. Aram is rocking the hat. Jack's rocking nothing. But before we go, I know I just did the exit and we're supposed to end the episode now, but was there any positives? Like, was there anything that you guys saw? I know, but just give me one. Give me one thing where you're like, I agree.
I already got base Michael King respect. There you go.
Okay. I liked the Michael King ranking. I liked the Ohtani ranking.
Okay.
I like that you have Reagans over Snell.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, that's all I got.
Well, that'll do it. Hopefully everybody has a great weekend. Rate and review, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, rated 5 stars. For Jack McMullen, Aram Layton, and I'm Peter Oppel, and I just made the best list ever. With that, thank you, everybody.